How's it going, football fans? Welcome inside the set of Gridiron Glory. Thanks for joining us for coverage of Week 6. I'm your host, Blake Brody. So here we are on the verge of October, and right on cue, the cool weather's moving in, creating an atmosphere that truly feels like football season. And Week 6 brought some intriguing matchups around the region this week. Going out of conference this week, though, the Warren Warriors of the SCOAL. 1 week after getting roughed up by Jackson, the 3-2 Warriors look to right themselves with a trip down US 50 over to West Virginia to take on the Patriots of Peace South. Welcoming up to the desk now, our West Virginia reporter, Pat Moore. Pat, the Peace South not doing the little things in these type of close games that they played tonight, but they certainly bounced back tonight, looking to make it 2 wins in a row. Yeah,
Coach Bolin and his boys extremely excited for this out-of-conference mid-season matchup, and a win could really build some momentum going forward for the rest of the season with that big game next week against Parkersburg. Lots of blue in this week's matchup with Warren and Parkersburg, but catch with Dakota the ball boy, teaching the flea flicker, doing his little dance. I do it for the kids, Blake. I do it for
Very
the
nice
kids.
of you, Pat. It's very nice.
A little game action now. We have Jesse Fickyson takes up the middle, first drive here, 45 yards, giving the Patriots the 7-0 first quarter lead. And then the ensuing kickoff here, Josh Mays will pick it up. He has a great return. He actually takes it down the sideline. Looks like he might get a chance to score, but is upended by Isaac Bowles, the kicker, right here, over the shoulder. Great field position, though, for the Warriors, but they can't do anything as Dylan Leffingwell on 4th down is stopped. Now the Patriots on their next drive find themselves inside the 20, but a fumble, miscommunication on the handoff to Kyocho. It is Chase. Miller takes it down the side. Pew! He is gone with a scoop and score, 83 yards. Time things up 7-7. Now trying to respond here. Boland's going to roll out, and he's picked off by Jeremy Hasty. He was everywhere on defense tonight, Blake. And then here, dealing with, trying to respond in the red zone. Again, a 4th down, but can't convert. Another turnover on downs. A punt actually would, by Peace South on the next drive, would lead to this missed field goal, as you can see by the kicker and the holder, just no good. 7-7 at halftime, but a thriller. Parkersburg South pulls it out 10-7 on a 30-yard field goal by Isaac Bowles to win it.
Wow, back-to-back wins for the Patriots for the first time this season. Now, you said a couple weeks ago, and this was really important, I mentioned it a little bit in the opener, Parkersburg South, a couple weeks ago, it seemed like they just weren't doing the little things to win these type of close games. They certainly did it tonight. Yeah, definitely. The defense was huge. As you can see when you saw the stat screen, the offense really didn't do too much, but the defense making huge plays, especially on 4th down, all those turnover on downs, and just first time that 2-game winning streak, and they got it. All right, now, next week they have a huge game. They host the Parkersburg Big Reds. That's always a huge crosstown rival, a huge game. How important is it for them that they're coming in on 2 straight wins? Well, now they got this 2-game winning streak, and it's going to be huge with all these injuries with Parkersburg South. It's going to be so interesting. And Kyocho, he was a little rusty, but I think he knocked some kinks out, and he's going to do fine. It's going to be a good game. All right, well, we'll see if the Patriots can make it 3 in a row next week with the Big Reds. Thanks a lot tonight, Pat. Now, with a breakdown of all things happening in the Mountaineer State, we turn our attention to Pat's partner in crime, Katie Doubt. Katie, how do our West Virginia teams stack up through 6 weeks?
Well, Blake, while the weather keeps getting colder, the fight to the top keeps getting hotter and hotter in West Virginia. WV has a 3-class system, with the smallest school being in Class A. Right now for Class A, Wheeling Central Catholic is #1, but Williamstown is trailing right behind in 2nd place with 5 W's. And behind them, representing the TVC Hawking, is 5th Wahama, looking to make a back-to-back state championship run, also with 5 wins. All right, so as far as Class A is concerned, our teams have to like where they stand there, top 5. Absolutely. Being in the top 16 is a big deal for these West Virginia boys, so being in top 5 is huge. And that's because the top 16 make it to the playoffs. And at this point in the season, that's where they're starting to focus their playing. So there's 2 other, as I mentioned before, classes. And the AAA teams are sitting a bit differently, though. In first, we have Martinsburg, and tied for 2nd is Bridgeport and George Washington. Moving down the list, we find Parkersburg in 6th place, tied with Elkins, and in 17th, the Parkersburg South Patriots. All right, so the Patriots right on the edge there at number 17. It's going to make these in games like with Parkersburg next week some huge ones. What are some games to watch for? Well, absolutely, schedule's huge. Next week, we have one of the biggest rivalries in the state, the game, Parkersburg versus Parkersburg South. Right now, Parkersburg has 4 boys out on injuries. Zane Minette, Chad Collins, Matt Santer, and Adam Lindemood. And since the Patriots are in 17th right now, this could be a huge turning point for these boys in regards to playoffs.
All right, well, that's a look at where our West Virginia teams stand through 6 weeks. Thanks a lot, Katie.
Yep.
Well, looking to make it 3 straight wins tonight, the Philo Electrics back-to-back wins over Morgan and John Glenn have Philo eyeing a 4-1 MVL mark with a road victory tonight over last place West Muskingum. Now we go live in Zanesville, making his Gridiron Glory debut, Graham Fugazi. Graham, tonight, Philo coming in with a 2-game winning streak. How did they play tonight versus a struggling West M team?
Well, Blake, tonight they came in with a 2-game winning streak. They looked fantastic, but in the second half, in the first half, it was a close game, some of which no one really anticipated. 17-14 in the first half of the game, but they picked it up in the second half.
All right, unfortunately, we are not able to bring you the highlights of this game because of technical difficulties. Graham, Philo, you said, was tested going into the half. What can you tell us about how this game played out?
Well, in the first half, Blake, it was basically a very close game. Shea Hurd, wide receiver for the Tornadoes, tore it up in the first half. He had a 85-yard reception off a quick slant from Clay Musselman, and he took that 85 yards for a touchdown. It was a great play by him. He had a little spin move in the middle, got some style points there. But on the ground for the Electrics, it was Shane Tanner, backup running back for the Electrics, who was playing in place of injured Caleb Wiseman. He had 31 carries tonight for 151 yards and 3 touchdowns. He carried the load for them tonight, and he made the coach very happy tonight with his performance.
All right, so if Philo was tested in the first half and they ended up really pulling away in this one in the second half, what was it that changed for him to get it going?
In the second half, I mean, they just kept handing the ball off to Tanner. I mean, the guy was a workhorse tonight. Like I said, 31 carries. I mean, it was just, they ran that triple option offense, so he was getting a lot of work, whether it be blocking for quarterback Nick Dorman, or getting the ball and running, blocking, whatever he can do to help the team out. And turnovers for the Tornadoes really killed them. In the second half, Musselman threw 2 interceptions, which was key for them. And on top of that, Thrush, wide receiver for the Electric, he had a receiving touchdown for them. And I mean, they basically outplayed them. 24 players on the roster for West Muskingum. I mean, it just really wears down a team when they're constantly playing both ways and they're on the field at all times.
All right, Graham, good stuff tonight. We'll see if Philo can make it 3 in a row. They have a tough one with Sheridan next week. At least they're coming in with a little momentum. Thanks a lot tonight, man. Hey, fans, stick around for coverage later in the show of our game of the week. It's Megs versus Athens, highlighting the start of TVC Ohio play. We'll see if the Marauders' 4-1 record is for real. While Devon Sharp and the 5-0 Bulldogs are trying to prove they're the class of the Ohio. Frank Bum breaks it all down for us later on, so stick around. Well, last week, the Waterford Wildcats were undefeated in the TVC Hawking before receiving an abrupt 53-point reminder that the Hawking title still runs through Wahama. But another test awaited them tonight when Trimble came to town. Welcoming up to the desk now, our Hawking reporter, Nick Hurst. Nick, this was an important game for both these teams tonight to get back on the right track.
Yeah, it really is. Both these teams could really try to use this game to gain some ground in the TVC Hawking, and they really want this win. Waterford coach Chad Ross wants his team to be a physical team against Trimble to play into Trimble's aggressive style. And we'll see this sign here. This says aggressiveness to the max. You mess with one man, you got us all, and Waterford would really want that. And Waterford late here in the first half, they're trying to get something going as Trevor Lang finds Brian Moore, but Trimble's defense is going to step up as J.D. Tresser is going to pick off the pass for the Tomcats, and that would prevent Waterford from scoring. Trimble goes up 7-0 at the half. And well, here to start off the half for Trimble, Connor Stanley's going to take this punt return all the way back for a touchdown, and that would put Trimble up 14-0. But Waterford, they really need this game, so they're going to respond here. Derek Brown is going to get it inside the 10 for the Wildcats.
Ooh, big hit.
Yeah, that is a big hit right there, and Waterford is going to get it in on the keeper. Trevor Lang takes it in for the Wildcats, and that cuts the lead to 14-7, but the Trimble Tomcats will be at it again as Justin Jewell. He gets flushed out of the pocket here, but he's going to pick up some ground and gets Trimble inside attacking.
Jewell does it all for them.
Yeah, he really does. And, well, that ball boy wants the Wildcats to step up, but Tomcats get it in for the touchdown, and that puts them up 21-7. They would go on to win 21-14, another big win for the Tomcats.
Absolutely. Now, Trimble riding high on a lot of momentum now, winners of 3 games in a row.
Yeah, they really looking really good right now, and they could use this going if they want any chance at the playoffs. They're playing well, and another big win. Unfortunately for Waterford, this is a tough loss for them.
All right, now on the other side of things, this is a tough loss for Waterford, but this was a really close game. What are some positives the Wildcats can take away from tonight?
Well, they proved that they're a tough team. They can play with these guys. I wasn't sure really how to judge Waterford because Waterford loses the game or wins the game 13-12 to Miller, somebody that Trimble beat pretty badly last week. It's by 67 points. Wow. So it's really tough to judge Waterford at this point. But Trimble was able to win this game, but I think Waterford was able to make a stand.
Okay, so Trimble now back to them. Now they've won 3 games in a row. They're starting to right themselves from that 0-2 start. Is this a team you think that can make a playoff run?
I think they can. If they play like this, they got the tough part of the schedule out of the way. South Gallia is done. Now Waterford's done. Wahama's done. They have to win out, but this is definitely a team that can do it.
Okay, Nick, well, we'll see if they can. You'll be following that story for us all season long. Thanks a lot tonight, man.
Thank you.
Football fans, be sure and follow us on Twitter at Gridiron Glory for links to content, fun, witty tweets from our reporters, but most importantly, score alerts on Friday nights. And like us on Facebook if you haven't already, and you could become our next Facebook Fan of the Week. And while you're on the web, be sure and check out the Gridiron Glory page at WOUB.org. We have conference roundups, league power rankings, and we'll bring you a player of the watch list in the coming days and so much more. So be sure and check it out, WOUB.org. League action in the SEOAL tonight centered around Logan and Gallia Academy. The Chieftains were TKO'd by Nelsonville York last week, while the Blue Devils lost a heartbreaker to Ironton. Both teams looking for a win tonight. At this game for us, our SEOAL reporter Josh Hunsberger. Josh, the importance of the Logan's rush D, you said it was going to be really important in this game tonight. How did they play versus Gallia Academy's rush offense?
Sorry to interrupt there, buddy, but yeah, like you said, the Chieftains have been looking all season long, trying to figure out how to stop the run, and tonight they may have found that remedy. But with Gallia Academy's new defensive coordinator, Alex Penrod, being a Logan graduate, you wouldn't have to worry about the Blue Devils defense either. Now this one, everybody was excited for this game. It was a muddy one, but for the first time in over a decade, the Chieftains came out in a 4-man front defensively. They always run a 5-3, but Brandon Taylor says, I don't care about your defense. He goes 10 yards here for the first down on the first drive, but just 3 plays later, Wade Jarrell on 4th down gets knocked down here by Jordan Sharp. Turnover, Logan takes over, and they give it to the little guy. Corey McCarty says, I want some McTouchdowns for the McChieftains. He goes 57 yards untouched. They strike first 7-0. For some second quarter action here for you. Gallia gives it back. Gallia Academy gives it back to Brandon Taylor. You want this guy on your fantasy team. Here's 13 of his 153 yards to the outside. But when they try to throw, Logan brings the blitz, and Wade Jarrell does a nice job getting away, but here comes the rest of the Logan defense to tackle him. They force 3 and out, and they punt. Now Logan has a 3 and out of their own here, and they go to punt, and Nick Koss doinks the punt. Just a 6-yard punt here. Gallia takes over at the Logan 31 with just over a minute left. So what do? They go back to Brandon Taylor. He's right here on an 8-yard reception down at the 2-yard line with just 5 seconds left in the half. They would run a play. Quick pass would be knocked down. They got 2 seconds left. They rush out the kicker, and guess who the kicker is? Brandon Taylor. He kicks it up, goes 7-3 at the half. Chieftains boogieing the night away, grabbing their first victory. Gallia drops their 2nd straight, and it was really impressive tonight. Corey McCarty played well for the Chieftains. Brandon Taylor might have been the story of the game. Even with the loss, he had a great night rushing.
Okay, so Logan, they're in the win column. How big of a relief is this for Logan to get that first win of the season?
It's a huge relief, Blake. I mean, not only for Coach Wolf, not only for the players, but for the community. Tonight at the game, there weren't really that many Logan fans out there, and that's not something any of us are used to seeing here on Gridiron. So maybe with this win, people will realize they still got a shot at the SCOAL and start coming back out to the games and get a lot of fun out there.
Okay, so Gallia drops now their 2nd straight game, but looking at the highlights, looking at the team, it looks like they still have a team that could contend in this conference.
Yeah, they definitely do. I was pretty impressed tonight with Brandon Taylor. He might make a run here, but The thing I think that's important for them is trying to open up a passing game a little bit. They've only lost one game in the league, so if they win out and take out Jackson in Week 10, they could tie Jackson. If Jackson, of course, wins out, which they're looking like they're going to do, they could tie Jackson for the league title.
All right, well, Jackson has a huge one with Ironton next week. We're looking forward to that. It'll be our game of the week next week. Josh, thanks a lot tonight, man.
Thanks, Blake.
One of the best things about traveling around to all these stadiums for Fan of the Week is when I meet truly passionate fans. I mean the diehards who back their team week in and week out. Tonight I was in Crooksville and found a true fan, and here's this week's Fan of the Week. We're looking for the biggest ceramic fan.
I can act like if you want me to.
You can't act like a fan. You gotta be the fan of the week. I mean, did you guys have like a bet for this game? Do you guys have a wager?
Maysville's gonna win. Yeah.
What's the wager? What happens if Maysville wins? What happens if Crooksville wins?
We're gonna duke it out. Just kidding. No, I don't know. I'll try.
There will be fists thrown either way.
Go Ceramics!
That wasn't too bad, was it? So this is a great view. Is this where you always come every Friday night?
No, I'm usually sitting down there.
You have the support of the crowd down there.
Yeah.
I asked if you were a fan of the week, and I got a pretty resounding, yeah, she is.
They know it. They can hear me all over the.
That's awesome. Oh boy, I'm a sucker for cute little kids. Think it's fun. Yeah. Only appropriate that our Week 6 Fan of the Week, Vanessa, she's a big-time ceramics fan, converted Tri-Valley.
You know it.
Vanessa, she gets the whole crowd pumped. The crowd loves her. She is ceramic through and through. Vanessa, you are Gridiron Glory's Week 6 Fan of the Week. Vanessa, you are awesome. Well, Crooksville certainly hardened by a brutal conference schedule through 3 weeks, and back-to-back matchups with Sheridan and Tri-Valley have left the Ceramics reeling. Tonight wouldn't get all that much easier with a red-hot Maysville team in town, and now we go live in Zanesville with our MVL reporter, Pat Chiesa. Pat, this was 2 teams tonight, Crooksville having lost 3 in a row, Maysville having won 3 in a row, going in completely opposite directions.
Yeah, that's right, Blake. Crooksville has taken a beating the last 2 weeks, losing to Sheridan and Tri-Valley by combined, get this, 105-0. But this was their chance to get back on the winning track at home against a good but very beatable Maysville team.
And unfortunately, technical difficulties from Zanesville prevent us from bringing the highlights of this matchup as well. But Pat, what can you tell us about this matchup tonight? Give us a run through of this game.
Well, yeah, let's do a little run through here as we put up the stat screen half by half. Crooksville really came out flying in this first half. They looked like this was their game to lose. Lake Channel had a huge 52-yard run on the 3rd play from scrimmage, and a few plays later he popped it in from a yard, so things were looking good for the Ceramics. They were up 8-0. 2 possessions later, Lake Channel scored again on another quarterback sneak, so it was 15-0 Crooksville, but Maysville responded. C.J. Harris also had 2 rushing touchdowns in the first half, and he would score those back-to-back to keep it close. 15-13 Ceramics at the half. And Big C had a big goal line stand at the end of the half, so talk about some momentum there. But in the second half, Maysville had a couple of huge defensive plays. In the 3rd quarter, Lake Channel found receiver Luke Hahn for 73 yards, but Hahn was stripped and fumbled out of the back of the end zone, so Maysville got the ball in the touchback. Very deflating turnover there. And in the 4th quarter, Crooksville was only down a touchdown when they fumbled in their own end zone, and Maysville recovered for the touchdown. So that was definitely 2 tough breaks for Crooksville. They had a chance to win this game, but they just couldn't do it. And on Maysville's side of the ball, Jeremy Willison. By the way, shout out to him and Dylan Evans for following us on Twitter. Jeremy Willison had a big night and really put the team on his back. A big rushing night for him and a big win for Coach Whit Parks and the Maysville Panthers.
Absolutely. Panthers now winners of 4 straight games. What was the key for them tonight in this win?
Oh, well, like I said, 2 words, Jeremy Willison. The kid was a monster. He has been all season, ran the ball extremely well, had 2 rushing touchdowns in the second half, but also give credit to C.J. Harris, the other running back, who had those 2 rushing touchdowns in the first half. The 2 of them have really made this team such an offensive threat. And also, like I said, 2 big turnovers. Their defense showed up when it mattered.
Absolutely. Sounds like it. Maysville now winners of 4 straight games. We'll see if they can make it 5 straight next week. Thanks a lot tonight, Pat. Extra points time now. You know the drill. Highlights of 2 games in 1 minute's time. Let's go. First off, we go to Alexander, where Vinton County traveled. First play, looks like the Vikings generating some offense on the opening drive. Leaf Smith gains 27 yards through the Spartan defense here. Good start of the game for Vinton County, but now it's time for the Trey Bennett show. Spartan fans have been treated to this all season long. Here's a 65-yard touchdown run. That gives the Spartans an early 6-0 lead. Now on the ensuing possession, Bennett on defense this time. Picking off a pass, Joey Beatty there. Alexander cruises in this one tonight, 53-15. Now we go out to Jackson, Holzer Field. Jackson doing all the little things tonight. Here's O.J. Barr saving a touchback to down the ball on the 3-yard line. What an effort now. Austin Osborne finds Reagan Williams for a 32-yard touchdown on the rollout. It's a nice throw and a good catch and coverage. Jackson touchdown there. Now Zaid Healy on the kick return for Portsmouth. He's brought down by kicker Luke Isungel. Jackson wins this one by 50, 56-6. Well, conference play in the TVC Ohio kicked off tonight. Coming into league play, the Athens Bulldogs, one of 3 teams still unbeaten, and Ryan Adams' team has a look of a league title contender. Looking to throw their name in the discussion, Red Hot Megs. The Marauders have already surpassed last year's win total, while riding high on a 4-game winning streak. Tonight's matchup of these 2 surging teams, our game of the week. If that doesn't give you goosebumps, I don't know what will. Coming into this game now tonight, our TVC Ohio reporter Frank Bump all over it for us. Now, to start off TVC Ohio play, this matchup had all the ingredients of a good game. Tell us about it.
Well, it certainly looked that way, having covered both teams. Megs has that 4-game winning streak. You mentioned earlier with 1 more win than they had last year, but the Bulldogs have already matched their win total from last season with 5. But head coach Ryan Adams told me early in the week they'd have to clean up their offense to beat tonight's Marauder squad. Coming out early in the game, Josh Skinner will start things off for the Bulldogs, to Skylar Swartzel, 20 yards, which would set up this Devon Sharp 3-yard touchdown run. He's stronger than people think he is. He's not just a speed back. Then after a Megs 3 and out, they punt it to Devon Sharp, and I'm sorry, but that's just not smart to give the ball to that guy. 62 yards. He's got a convoy the whole way to the end zone. The pink there is for the breast cancer awareness night for the Athens Bulldogs. And then, but Megs finally gets it going. Jeffrey Roush, 23 yards. He spins, he's stumbling, he's bumbling. Then a Dylan Boyer scramble will set up this Charlie Barrett 1-yard touchdown. Megs is back in at 14-7, 2:48 in the first. Then Skinner's going to set up himself with 29-yard scramble right there. Then play action pass, he takes it, throws off his back foot to Josh Maxson, taps his foot down. Extra point would be no good, 20-7, 1:04 left in the first. Then Sharp takes the pitch, he bowls through those arm tackles like an elephant, and then he sprints the end zone like a cheetah. Just incredible what he can do to you. 46 yards, 28-7 Athens. Then takes the read option, he nearly gets tackled in the backfield, plants the hand, then goes all the way, strolls into the end zone. So easy for them.
This kid can play.
He really is one of the better players that we cover. You see Megs loses 9-56. Athens, solid 6-0, gets off league play the right way.
Absolutely. Bulldogs look great tonight. Now, you were expecting a close game coming into this matchup tonight. What in the world happened?
Boy, was I wrong. I mean, honestly, what they ran into was the Devon Sharp show. He is so very good at breaking through the arm tackles, and he has the balance that few players have, and he goes into the end zone just so easy for him, especially with the offensive line. They blocked well for Skinner, too.
Okay, now we were oh so close to calling this a 4-headed monster in the Ohio with Megs joining the discussion, but looks like clearly it's just a 3-headed monster in the Ohio.
It's a 3-headed monster that has been eating the competition. Nelsonville York shut out Wellston 48-0. Then Alexander beat Vinton County 53-15. So just great performances from the top 3 of the TVC Ohio.
Well, Ohio play just getting started here. Where do both teams go from here?
For Megs, it's been the bane of their existence all season long, has been turnovers and penalties. They had 5 turnovers against Athens. So, and then for Athens, if they play like they did tonight, they will keep on rolling.
All right, well, we'll see how that goes, Frank. Megs and Athens tonight. Supposed to be a close one. Athens rolls. They look like a legitimate team in this Ohio. Thanks a lot tonight, man.
Thank you.
Well, that wraps up our game coverage for this week, but I know there were a few plays tonight that you just want to see again. Here are tonight's top plays. Number 3, Corey McCarty up the middle and then hitting the turbo you see here. All alone, untouched through the Gallia Academy defense. 57-yard touchdown. Chieftains get their first win, and it comes on the road, 14-3 over the Blue Devils. Number 2 here. Now, Ty McNelly does it all for Jackson, catching the ball as a receiver, also defensively picking things off. But here is a punter. What a punt, and then great acrobatics to keep it down the 1-yard line. Portsmouth rolls. Number 1 now, Sharp, taking the read option and taking it to pay dirt. Reverses field and goes 35 yards into the end zone. Sharp has 4 touchdowns tonight, and he has our Gridiron Glory top play of the night. Well, week 6, certainly an exciting week of high school football, but week 7, I should say, now the focus of Gridiron Glory. Here's what to expect from us next Friday night. Next Friday marks week 7 action, which means do-or-die times fast approaching around the region. Alexander looks great through 6 weeks and look to stay that way when they host our Rise Up heroes from Wellston next week. Southern and Miller face off in a TVC Hawking clash. Gallia Academy looks to stay strong in the SCOAL, but it won't be easy when they travel to Chillicothe, a team desperate to get their season back on track. New Lexington will try and prove their strong MVL record is no fluke with a huge home matchup with MVL giant Tri-Valley. I'll be at Parkersburg South next week for Fan of the Week when the Patriots host crosstown rival Parkersburg in a West Virginia showdown. And our game of the week is SEOAL favorite Jackson versus state heavyweight Ironton. 2 teams storming toward postseason play. Well, that does it for coverage of week number 6. What did we learn tonight? Well, the TVC Ohio is firmly a 3-team race, and Athens looks awfully tough through 6 weeks. Hey, Logan won't go winless this season. Good for the Chieftains to get in the win column tonight. Philo's won 3 straight games. They have Sheridan next week. The Generals got a surprisingly tough game from John Glenn tonight. So join us next week for week 7 action. Till then, I'm Blake Brody, and remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.